Look at this prisoner, he soiled his spoon when he ate, then I stuffed it into my pants, and rubbed it on my shoes, then talked to the guards, his spoon is dirty and needs to be replaced. My friend was there to distract the guards. Success got him 2 spoons. But it takes more than a spoon to break out. The warden's nail clippers are a key tool. When he turned to speak, the prisoner just took one. The prisoner's name is Frank, a well-known figure in prison circles. Put a dime on a nail clipper, roll out a small pile of aluminum powder, where the spoon meets the nail clipper, wait until the heat is over. The spoon and the nail clipper were welded together, became a hole-picking tool. Frank doesn't stop at night. The hole is getting bigger, push harder and harder, but the motion was too wide, attracted the attention of the guards. Fortunately, the inmates reminded us in time, plus, the paint in the cell is black, that's why the guards didn't notice anything unusual. Wait until the guards leave. Frank started working overtime again, dig holes at night and scatter dust during the day, and so on for dozens of days and nights. He finally cut through the wall of the vent. But here's the problem. The barbed wire was blocked by iron. Can't take off. It doesn't bother Frank. He signed up to work in the carpentry shop, found a wedge in it. This thing can definitely cut through wire, but he was spotted by a metal detector on his way out. Frank is calm, said he wanted it back for decoration. That won't do. The guards confiscated it on the spot. But back in his cell, Frank pulled a new wedge out of his shoe, kick it through. The barbed wire was successfully broken. Now he can escape. But what about the cellmates? Frank decided to wait for the other 3 to dig the hole, and then escape together. We need to do a little camouflage before we do that, so we don't expose it on rounds. In the next time, fellow inmates started picking holes, too. Frank found lots of books and magazines, shred the dust from the soaked heel, and stir it together, made into various shapes. The inmate also said he wanted to paint. Brushes and paint are coming. Put it on the dummy. Then he pulled out his eyebrows and hair, put it on the dummy, in the dark. That's good enough to pass for real. After the disguise, Frank went through the vent, wanted to study the escape route beforehand. He found the air shaft, but this place is sealed with steel, and the installation position is a little high. He can't get enough. At the same time, there's a guard patrolling the cell area. The first time he passed Frank, fooled by a dummy, but the second time I passed by, I realized something was wrong, because Frank didn't move. And why is the hair so thin? Clearly something is not normal. He slowly held out his hand, but Frank was back in his cell by this time. The second day, he told his fellow inmates last night's findings and asked about their progress. They are all ready. That night, Frank took a fellow inmate with him, crawled out of the air duct. The 2 make a collaborative observation, found another cover on top of the rebar. The only way out is to get a rig. This thing is a big one. It's not easy. The next afternoon, when they went to the music room to sing, Frank noticed a small fan. Suddenly, there was a solution. He found the powerful old man, asked him for an extension cord and a drill. Then he loaded the fan into the instrument case before leaving, and let the guards check on him. The gesture reassured the guards. Failure to check the box.
Let's open it up.
That night Frank ran into the air ducts again. Start removing fan motor. A simple rig was successfully built. The 2 men went out again late at night, damaged the rebar and the cover above it. But the next day something happened. The warden brought the guards in for a surprise inspection, went all the way around with a metal detector, and moved the instrument case. Frank camouflaged the vent with cardboard. The warning did not look carefully. That's how Frank got away with it. But the warden is still worried. Decided to shuffle the position in a few days, reassign cells to the prisoners. Frank knew he had aroused suspicion. To avoid long nights and long dreams, decide to act at once. The 3 climbed out of the air duct that night, but the other inmate was scared, because he's not serving a life sentence, just stay long enough to get out. So he gave up working with them. 3 people don't care about him. Made it out of the air shaft, and then down the pipe, run all the way, climb over the barbed wire to reach the sea, start blowing through your mouth. It's a simple escape raft made of tarps. 3 men dived into the sea at night, and then disappeared without a trace. The next morning, when the guards checked, I found Frank asleep in bed, throw back the covers in anger, and a paper head fell to the ground. The guards were taken aback. Soon, there was a loud alarm in the prison. It was a mess. The warden sent out a large number of police to search, but only a few photos were found. 3 people are still alive, but the warden refused to admit his failure, insisting that they fell into the sea and drowned, but the bodies of the 3 men were never found.